श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्ग्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि श्रीवासरंग परकाल मुनित्रयाप्त लक्ष्मात्मरक्षण यतित्वगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूतमनर्गशीलं गोपाल देशिक मुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः पराशर मुनिं वन्दे कथ पौर्वानिक क्रियं मैत्रेय परिपभ्रच्य प्रणिपध्याभिवाद्य च. There is a beautiful shloka on sage Parashara by Swami Vedanta Desika in Daya Satakam. I had mentioned this in my first probably talk on Vishnu Puranam, just to bring back the greatness of sage Parashara. Parashara Mukhan Vande Bhagirata Naye Stithan Kamala Kanta Karunya Ganga Plavida Madvitan. So here he says, Parashara Mukhan Vande. I praise the Vaibhavam of sage Parashara. I hail the glories of sage Parashara. I bow, I prostrate, I perform namaskaram. Vande, I bow down to sage Parashara and other rishis like sage Valmiki, sage Vyasa. So like that, from Parashara, the lineage, Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram Shakte Pautram Akalmasham Parasharat Majam Vande Sukha Tatam Taponitim. The entire lineage of this rishis we need to pay our obeisance to, because it is they who brought these wonderful Sattvika Puranams. Puranams are the ancillary or the like Upabrahmanam, like they are explaining, they are declaring the Vedic essence through the Puranams and the Kathai in the Puranam. The incidents in the Puranam are nothing but the Upanishadic truths, which we cannot understand straight away from the Vedic Vedantams and the Upanishads. So Parasara's Sri Vishnu Puranams, Vedavyasa's other Puranams and Mahabharatam, in which the Vishnu Sahasranamam and Bhagavad Gita are there, Sukha Brahmam Srimad Bhagavatam, Valmiki's Srimad Ramayanam, they are all instilling bhakti in us. It is like Bhagirata who brought the Ganga from the heavens to the earth, and Shiva took it on his matted locks. So the purifying flow, the figurative Ganga, is the holy epics and the Puranams. They will drown the Mahapapis like me, that we are. We today remain like the ashes which were dissolved, the ashes, the Bhagirata's ancestors' ashes were dissolved. The papams were removed by Bhagirata's Ganga, which flow through the ashes of the ancestors of Bhagirata. Similarly, these Vishnu Puranam and the other Puranams flow through us. We listen to that and we get purified, just like the Sagara, Muniva, they were all purified. So these wonderful Puranas help us to get purified by listening to it. So with that, we will continue with the Vishnu Puranam incidents and the wonderful Katha. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. My Janmam and my deeds are all Divyam, divine. They are transcendental. By listening to that, you get purified. So here, next after the Rukmini Kalyanam, the Krishna and Rukmini had a son. There was a child born, a son was born to them, to Krishna and Rukmini, and this son was called Pradyumna. But even before the naming ceremony, which they wanted to be called as Pradyumna, on the 6th day, there was an Asura that time by name Shambara Asura. This Asura had been told by someone, maybe by the sage, that a son who will be born to Krishna and Rukmini would be the death of this Shambara Asura. So he was terribly scared that if a son is going to be born to Rukmini, he is going to kill me, just like the Kamsa was killed by Krishna. So he therefore came to Dwaraka when he heard that there was a birth of a son to Rukmini. He did not hesitate any longer. It was not even 10 days the child was born. So when everyone was busy with some task or the other, Shambarasura, who was waiting for his chance, he found the child to be left alone in the bedroom in a cot, so unattended for a moment, and that was enough for him. He abducted the child, he stole the child and vanished from the city. He thought of different ways of killing the child, but looking at the beauty of the newborn, he could not digest killing him. So he decided to throw it in the ocean, so that he could avoid seeing the child being killed, and at the same time he could be sure that the child would be dead. So he therefore threw the child into the sea and went away with an easy mind that he is no more a problem. The child is no more a problem for him. So Dwaraka was a city which was grief-stricken because of the child's loss. The child is missing. Rukmini was simply inconsolable. And the time is a great healer. People tend to forget that there was once a child to Rukmini and Krishna and it was lost to them and all that. The child which had been thrown into the city, to the ocean, did not die actually. A large fish, some big fish, which could swallow the baby. So it swallowed the whole baby. And this fish was caught by the fishermen. And they found the fish stomach to be so big, unusual. So they immediately took it to the local king. And who is the king? Shambarasura. So Shambarasura accepted the big fish and he handed over to the cook. And the cook, the maid, the one who was in charge of the kitchen, the chief chef, she was a beautiful girl by name Mayavati. When they cut up the fish, they found a live baby. Because it was Krishna's child, because of the viryam, because of the divinity, it was still alive. And they told Mayavati that they caught hold of the fish whose stomach was big, and hence they wanted to bring up the baby. They wanted to rear them, take care of the baby. So she was so enamored or charmed by the beauty of the baby. Her heart was so full of love, compassion for the baby, Vatsalyam. She took it and brought it up in her house. The son was growing up to be a handsome boy. This Mayavati was hardly in her 20s that time. So Narada came to see her one day. He looked at the young boy and asked Mayavati who he was because he looked so divine. She told him the story. And immediately Narada said, "Do you remember anything about your past life?" She said, "No. But of course I get some dream. I get some vague, weird dreams that I was someone's wife and my wife was killed and all that," she said. But she could not place it coherently. So, "Can you explain to me, revered sage?" So Narada said, "My child, this is not a dream, but it is the past birth. That was the most tragic event in your life. So when the Mahadeva, the Shivan, Rudran, when he was doing his tapas after Dakshayani was dead, so Shiva, who is a hardcore Vaishnavite, Vedanta Desika says he is a Sarvajñan, Shiva, and he is one of the ardent Vaishnavite, Rama Bhakta, and Shiva was performing his penance, and he was performing his penance, and Parvati wanted to kind of be in love with him and get married to him. So she asked Manmata, the Lord of Love, the God of Love, and he is the one who sent the bow in which with the arrow of flowers, the Malar Ambu. He sent the arrow of flowers from a sugarcane bow, and which it hit the Rudran, the Shivan, and he was caught by the God of Love. For we don't need any such reason, we get simply caught. So however, for Shiva the penance was broken and he was disturbed by the Cupid's love arrow, and hence he was so raged, he was so angered by Manmata's bow. So he looked at Manmata with his third eye, which is Agni, and Manmata was burnt to ashes then and there. And Rati Devi, Manmata's wife, she was terribly pained to see her husband being burnt to death, burnt to ashes. So she prayed to Mahadeva, is there a way? And she was told, assured, that he would be born and would unite with her soon. So this is the next birth. Rati Devi herself becomes Mayavati. And Maya, and you are that Rati Devi, sage, says Narada. And you are that wife of Manmata. Now, who is that Kama, the Manmatan? He is the one who comes to you as the baby, who is growing up now. He is almost in his teenage or youthful age. So time rolls and her time of waiting came to an end finally. The young boy now becomes in his 20s, and his beauty was enchanting, captivating. After all, he was Manmatan, and Krishna is Sakshat Manmatan. There is no way, he is thousands of Manmatan together. Koti Manmatan, Krishna. And Krishna's baby, now he had inherited his father's lotus eyes like the petals of a lotus. And the young man, with every action, Mayavati was simply falling in love, though she brought him up. Now every lift of her eyebrows with her smiles, she was expressing her love, affection, vatsalyam. So one day this boy was asking her, and Mayavati explained that she is none other than Rati Devi and he is none other than Manmata. Mayavati told him about what sage Narada explained. You were born to Krishna in the house of Yadavas. Rukmini is your mother. Shambharasura stole you from your mother's side with the intention of destroying you, with the intention of killing you. He threw you into the sea, and with the fish swallowing you, by a freak of fate, this fish came to us, to the kitchen of Shambharasura. I have taken care of you all these years. The sage Narada, the Chaturmukha Brahma's son, told me the truth as to why you came to me. You are now born to kill Shambharasura. He has got an art of fighting with the help of Maya, and your mother has never forgotten her child. She is inconsolable even today. When you were a week old, she lost you. So do not worry about how you are going to kill Shambharasura. I will teach you, because she herself is a Mayavati. She taught him, and Pradyumna then challenged Shambharasura to fight with him. Taken by surprise at the courage of this young boy who was calling him such insulting names, Shambharasura came out with his mace with his ayudam. The fight between the two was very long, very ferocious, extremely fierce. Surprised by the power, by the strength, by the valor, the prowess of the young man, Shambarasura decided to use his Maya, and the fight became much more intense. There is no way, and none was effective against the young boy because of his strength and because of the Krishna's daya. Pradyumna proved to be superior to Shambarasuran in every aspect, in every manner. And Mayavati, after Pradyumna killed this Shambarasura, cut off the head of Shambarasura, Mayavati, who could fly in the air with her Maya, she carried Pradyumna to the city of Dwaraka. From there, she led him to the Krishna's palace. And the servants, the attendants, the maids, the soldiers, they were all busy with their tasks when a young man enters with a very beautiful woman, Mayavati. The youngsters was exactly looking like Lord Krishna because he is Manmata's next birth and Krishna's son. They thought for a while it was Krishna himself because he was so enchanting, and they were all wondering who the woman was. And it took a while for them to know that he is not Krishna. Then they were asking each other, who is this young man? Rukmini also came rushing to see the young couple, and she came to see who they were. When she saw him and when Mayavati explained, she was filled with tears rolling down the cheeks. And if my child had been alive, he would have been just like this young man. And Pradyumna was embraced by everyone, hugged by Rukmini, and she was so excited, Rukmini. And Mayavati explained about sage Narada's narration as well as what had happened over the years. Then Rukmini proudly announced that her son has been found again. She was granted another life. Rukmini was granted. The entire city was happy to see the young prince, and there was joy in the heart of everyone. So this is how the entire Shambarasura Vadam had happened. Now next one is the Kalindi. When Krishna had, after Rukmini had this son, they had few more children. And this there was one day during the Krishna's time. Let me just open the Vishnu Puranam. Yeah. So this Krishna, he not only had Rukmini as he not only had Pradyumna as the son. Rukmini also had few sons and a daughter. Charuteshnan, Sudekshnan, Charudehan, Sushenan, Charuguptan, Bhadracharu, Charuvindan, Sucharu, Charu. These were the sons. And Charumati was the daughter. And Krishna had Ashtamagishi. There were 8 spouses main. Of course, he had then 16,100 girls who were married to him, who were released from the Ugrasenas, who were released from the prison. So now these 8 were the Pradhana Mahishis, out of which Rukmini is the Mahalakshmi's Amsham. Now Rukmini is the first one. There were Mitra Vindai, Satyai, Jambavati, Rohini, Shushilai, Satyabhamai, Lakshmanai. So these were the other 7 spouses. And this Mitra Vindai is Kalindan king's daughter. and Kalindi she is also called Kalindi. And Satya is Nagnachit's daughter. So more than the details, here Rukmini had a son, had a brother, we know, by name Rukmi, who was against getting her married off to Krishna. He wanted her to be married off to Shishupala, which we saw last week. But Rukmini got married to Krishna. Now Rukmi, the elder brother of Rukmini, had a daughter, and this daughter was actually fond of this Pradyumna who came along with Mayavati. Now this Pradyumna was allowed to be married to this Rukmi's daughter, because Rukmi, even though he was against Krishna, he was still fond of his sister. So the sister's son is getting married to the mama's daughter. So he accepted and agreed for this Swayamvaram and the wedding. Now this girl who got married to Pradyumna, they had a child by name Aniruddhan. And this Aniruddhan grew up to be the most strong, and he was exactly like Krishna. This Aniruddhan became youthful, and Rukmi's daughter is his mother. When Lord Narayana took the form of Vamana, the Bali Chakravarti, we all know that story, for the gift of 3 measures of his feet. He had been so touched by the bhakti of Mahabali Chakravarti, and he promised to Bali that, because Bali is none other than the grandson of Prahlada. This Bali had many sons. The eldest of them was Banasura. So he was a great devotee of Shivan, this Banasura. So when Lord Nrsimha appeared in front of Prahlada, he, after killing the Hiranyakashipu, he told Prahlada that he would never ever kill any more descendants of Prahlada. He would not kill. And now Mahabali is the grandson of Prahlada, and Banasura comes in that lineage. So Banasura cannot be killed by Krishna, because he had already promised to Prahlada. You get the point? So now Banasura commanded great respect in all lokams, Devalokam, Patala Lokam, our Lokam, because Banasura got some boons from Shiva. He was giving lot of dhanams, a great giver, benevolent, ever truthful, highly intelligent. He ruled the city by name Shonita Nagaram, because of the love he had for Shiva, because he was the favorite bhakta of Shiva. All the devas served Banasura, because Shiva was Mahadeva, Sarvajnan, and as though they were his servants, the devas, they were serving Banasura. And Banasura, because of the power, because of the boon given by Mahadeva, he had 1,000 hands. That means he was very strong. Figuratively, he had 1,000 hands, and he was giving, worshipping, paying obeisance to Mahadeva, offering flowers. So Mahadeva was so pleased, he asked him the boon that Banasura wanted. Bana became arrogant. Bana thought Shiva himself is asking me, so I should ask. He said, my lord, in this entire world there is no one except you to match the strength of mine. These 1,000 arms that you have given me are a burden, and they have no work. I cannot do anything with these 1,000 hands, because I'm bored. So I went to the mountains and crushed them to dust with the 1,000 hands. I challenged the elephants who are guarding, and they become so frightened, they are running away. I want someone to equally strong as me to fight with me. That's all I desire. Look at the boon he is asking. And Shivan knew that his end is coming. That means, you stupid fool. I thought you were different from others. I thought you were intelligent. See, we are caught by the Sattva, Rajas, Tamasa Guna. Today, I may be talking this hour about Vishnu Puranam. After finishing this, I get caught by the Tamasic Guna and go do something weird. So the gunas, because of the Prakriti Sambandham, every Jivatma is caught by the three gunas, and by the lethargy or by the rosham, anger, love, lust, desire, because of the influence of the three gunas. No way that we can escape. Krishna himself tells Arjuna that you cannot come out of this because of the karma vasana, the triguna sambandham, the trigunas will influence us. So he is also caught by the tamasa rajasa guna. When the sattva guna is in ascendance, we are all now bound to listen to this or enjoy this Vishnu Puranam. Because of that, this sattva guna will not be always in us. Because in spite of my rambling, you all listen because of the sattva guna in you. So now even you have succumbed to the dread enemy arrogance because of the rajasa guna influence. Your desire will be granted, I assure you. When you get this arrogance, your end is so near. And this Banasura had a beautiful daughter by name Usha. This Usha, she had a dream one day. She met a very, very handsome young man in her dream. She met someone who is extremely handsome. His eyes, his nose, his lips, his chubby cheeks, his curly locks, his broad shoulders. She was simply in love with that person whom she saw in her dream. So when she got up, she narrated this to her friend Chitralekha, the daughter of the king's minister, the king's prime minister's daughter, Chitralekha. And Chitralekha asked, so I have, what happened? So you explain me the dream. You tell, I would, because she was good artist. So when she narrated the man, she began to draw, and she drew 3 people faces. One was Krishna, other was Pradyumna, third one was Aniruddha. She drew immediately because she could visualize and draw from the narration which Usha gave. Immediately, of course, Usha said Krishna is the most handsome out of the 3, but he did not come in my dream. The one Aniruddha she showed by pointing at him. He is the one who came in my dream. So immediately she knew that who he is, because she came to know. And what she did, Chitralekha was very well versed in yoga. She could fly in the air, and she reached the city of Dwaraka. She entered into the Antahpuram, the inner apartments of the palace, and she searched for Aniruddha, sleeping alone on a cot. She lifted him and brought him to Shonatipura, and left him by the side of Usha. So we wish we had such friends. When he was woken up gently by a pair of flower-like hands, Aniruddha opened the eyes. He thought he was dreaming. He saw Usha in real sense. He pinched his body and found himself waken up. So it took him some time to realize what had happened. And Chitra and Usha concealed him in the inner Antahpuram very effectively. And here Krishna and Balarama knew that Aniruddha has been taken away and he is in Banasura's palace. So here what happened? Now Krishna and Balarama came. Here Aniruddha was quickly surrounded by the gods of Banasura. He tried to fight with them and with Bana. It would be hard to capture this young man. Bana used the Nagapasham and bound the offending young lover of his Usha and took him captive. In the meantime, from Krishna and Balarama came, and then they started fighting with Banasura's army. The attack, Krishna collected a large army and marched towards Banasura. He was accompanied by Balarama, Satyaki, Pradyumna and other Yadava heroes. They attacked. The Yadava army was 12 lakhs in strength, and with an equal number of men, Banasura came out to fight with them. Now, what happens? Banasura is already a Shiva Bhakta. So Shiva, Subramanya, Vinayaka and Shakti, they all came in support of Banasura. And Krishna's Sharanga was busy, and so was Mahadeva's Ayudams. So the Devas assembled to watch the fight. So there was a Jrumba Astram. It was sent by Krishna. It made them fall into sleep, Mahadeva and others. And Mahadeva, Subramanya, Vinayaka, they were all defeated by Krishna's army. This comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. And seeing the havoc played by the army, Banasura came out and fought with Satyaki. Bana abandoned him and came to fight with Krishna. He used his bows, several of them. And finally, Krishna was willing to cut all his arms and kill him. He wanted to. And immediately Mahadeva came and said, "He is my devotee, please spare his life." And Krishna also said, "I had promised to Prahlada that I would not kill any of his descendants. So I am going to spare his life. However, his all 1,000 hands have to be cut down." So, Ayiram Tolum Poli Kurudipaya Suratria Arivallanukku Pallandu Kurudume. Periyalvar mentions in Tirupallande. The 998 shoulders, the hands were cut off by Krishna's Chakrayudam. And of course, Mahadeva and others thanked Krishna for sparing his devotee. Now with that, we pay our obeisance to Rukmini Sameta Krishna and pray to him for blessing us. Adiye Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Dhanyos.